Zawawi. I resort.
Wallah, please, bro.
Make the viral Ahmed Al Zamel. Ahmed Tandoori. Ahmed Al Zamel. It's one of those names, isn't it? Do you get it? But we're making it.
Firstly, we're doing the cake. You know what to do, yeah?
And then the next step, obviously, is put them there. And
obviously, we finished it, yeah? You just gotta stab it a bit. And guess what? Okay, sorry. Please.
So now that we've done the layer, it's now
bro, my nigga's come.
Sorry,
it's time to put on the yazoo. The day, this was the one, you know.
Make sure it soaks. It has to drink. You missed the spot.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Now we're making the cheesecake. By the way, this is based on Bismillah, inshallah. We don't know how much we're putting in.
We'll just go by vibe.
And then you want to put in your condensed milk. You're supposed to do all of it.
I'll tell you to stop. Okay, stop. No, stop. Let's make it sweet. Oh.
We can't find a machine, but do you know what we do have? Ahmed Al Zamel. Wait. Ramadan! Turn off!
Wallahi, or billahi, or tallahi, you could generally not control.
Yeah, he's right. Come on, man.
You had the choice. I could control my hand.
It's done. It's done.
I can't control it.
Wait, chill. Wait. Wasting my food.
Wait.
What the hell?
Turn off. I'm not doing it again.
See, now it's time to spread the thing and that. You know what time it is? Ace is spreading it good. I can't like it. Ace, how you do like that? Ace, how you do like that? Ace, how you do like that? And now we're gonna make the chocolate layer. Yeah, we've got this thing. I can't lie to you. It's a nutty thing, yeah? Certain man like nuts and that. Fire! On the chocolate layer, you add the I don't know what that is, yeah? This guy. Double cream, yeah.
Make it thick.
It's like my bro here. You're a bit big, boys. Calm, innit? Now we're gonna melt the chocolate, yeah? In the microwave for 2 minutes. I like him, I'm good, you know. Ike, how you move like that? Ike, how you move like that? Get back to it, bro. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Sky, what do you think this is, bro? I'm hungry, bro. It's remaining chocolate.
What are we gonna do?
We're making the top layer, yeah?
Come on. Vibes, wallahi, vibing.
Once you do that, you want to put the cocoa powder in. So now that we mixed it and that, we'll put it on top. We're gonna put it in the fridge
and we'll see how it turns out.
Results time. I'm gonna close my eyes for this. Ahmed Zawawi.
Let's make Ahmed Al Zamel's lazy cat cake, a chilled layered dessert like no other. You only need a few ingredients and just refrigerate it for a couple of hours and you have yourself the best dessert. Start off with a chocolate sponge cake. You can bake your own or get store-bought. Soak it with some chocolate milk. In a separate bowl, whip cream cheese and condensed milk. Place it on top of your soaked chocolate cake. And then you're going to prepare your crunchy top, which is literally just chocolate Cocoa Pops with some melted chocolate and a dusting of cocoa powder or chocolate powder until it becomes kind of separated, really crunchy and yum. Put that aside while you make your chocolate ganache, which is equal parts thickened cream and chopped up chocolate. I did use a dark chocolate because it's yummier and smoother and pairs perfectly well with all the other sweet ingredients of the cake. Chill your dessert tray, then top it up with some of the crunchy topping. Got yourself a great dessert to take wherever you go.
This Ahmed Al Zamel cake has been all over Khaliji TikTok and I had to try it, so here's how I made it with some tips on how to elevate it. I first made a chocolate box cake and I replaced the water for milk and oil for butter. I only made half the cake batter that the box calls for because I wanted a thin layer of cake. And if you want to save time, the original version uses pre-made chocolate cake. Since I had half the batter, I baked it for half the time that it called for, and I took it out when it passed the toothpick test and came out clean on the fork. After letting the cake cool, I poked holes in it with the fork. I then made some chocolate milk. I considered making a chocolate 3-milk mixture using whole, evaporated, and condensed milk to elevate the dessert more, but I was cramming making this before iftar. For the cream mixture, I wanted it to be extra fluffy, so I whipped 1 cup heavy cream separately until it formed stiff peaks, making sure not to overmix it, otherwise it'll turn into butter. In another bowl, I started with 2 blocks of cream cheese. I added 1 whole block to the bowl, and then for the second block, I reserved a quarter of it in an airtight container because we don't need that. So now in the bowl, I have 1 3/4 blocks of cream cheese, which is about 400 grams. And then I added half a cup of condensed milk, which is about 2/5 of a can. You can store the rest in like a squeezable bottle situation in the fridge for a couple weeks. I then beat the cream cheese and the condensed milk together, and I folded the whipped cream in afterwards. After tasting it, I thought it was lacking, so I added 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I grabbed my cake from the fridge and spread that layer that I just made on top of the moistened cake, and oh my gosh, it literally looks so good on camera. Anyways, I cleaned up the sides as well between every single layer, and then I got a double boiler ready for the ganache. I made sure that the boiling water from the bottom isn't directly touching the pot on the top, and then I also had a cooking thermometer to make sure that the chocolate wasn't going over 112 or 113, and I slowly incorporated heavy cream a little bit at a time, stirring it fully to make the ganache. I scooped a tablespoon of that over some chocolate cereal, and then I mix that up, and then you can dust some cocoa powder through a sieve and then mix or shake that. I ended up running out of ganache, so I had to make some more later with some different chocolate, and it looks a little ugly in the corners, just ignore that. It was literally 40 till iftar, and I still wasn't ready and I had to go to my friend's place, and my husband came up to me and was like, so do you really think now's the time to record your TikTok debut? But anyways, here's how the cake came out. It was really good. 10 out of 10, recommend.
Hi guys, let me show you guys how to make this trending lazy cat cake. It is so delicious, so creamy, so rich, and not too sweet. This is perfect for iftar or Eid. Gave this to some of my friends and families and they called it crack. I start off by using 2 chocolate box cakes, and then I just follow the instructions on the back of the box. And instead of using water, I use milk, and instead of using oil, I use butter. That's what makes the cake so delicious. I just give everything a good mix, and then I pour it in medium size, not medium, small cake trays. I use 3 of them, and then spread it out evenly, and I bake at 350 for about 20 minutes. Then I just get started on the toppings. I use 3 cups of cocoa pebbles, and then I add some chocolate syrup to it. Give that a good mix in a Ziploc bag so it's so much easier. And then I add in about half a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. Give that a mix, and it should look like that. Now for the cheesecake filling, I use about 4 packets of cream cheese, and then I add about 1/4 cup of sugar, and then I add about 4 cups of heavy cream. Give everything a good mix, and once everything is combined, put that aside. Now for the ganache, I add in a packet of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Here's my son stealing one. And then I add in a packet of milk chocolate chips, and then I add about 1 cup of heavy cream, and I microwave this for 2 minutes in 30-second increments. Once your cake is baked, let it cool down and poke some holes in it, and then pour in about 1 cup of milk into the cake and let the cake suck up the milk. And then we're gonna add in our cheese cream filling. Add in about 2 cups of that cheese cream fillings. Spread it out evenly and nicely, and then we're gonna pour in our chocolate ganache. This is the best part. Spread out your chocolate ganache evenly, and then we're gonna obviously top it off with chocolate cocoa pebbles. And that's it, guys. This is so delicious. Refrigerate it at least for 3 to 4 hours, and you have the perfect dessert for iftar or Eid.
I caved in and had to try the viral lazy cat cake by Ahmed Al Zamel, and it is absolutely worth a try. To make it, you need to start with a layer of chocolate cake. You can bake your own or use store-bought like I did. Pour some milk over the cake. The mud cake I used was already moist, but I still went ahead and added that milk. To make the cheesecake cream, whip the cream cheese until smooth, then add a packet of creme chantilly, milk and condensed milk. Creme chantilly powder is very commonly used in the Middle East. When added with milk or water, it makes whipped cream. Continue whipping until stiff peaks form. Then spread the cheesecake cream evenly over the cake layer. To make the ganache, combine melted chocolate with reduced fat cream or ishtar and stir until smooth and glossy. Pour the ganache over the cheesecake layer and spread out evenly. Now to coat our rice bubbles. In a large container, pour melted chocolate over the rice bubbles. Close the lid and shake to coat evenly. Then open the lid, add cocoa powder and shake again until fully covered. Make sure to use an unsweetened cocoa powder. It contrasts so well with this dessert. To finish off the cake, you spread the chocolate-coated rice bubbles over the ganache layer. Refrigerate for at least 2 hours for best results, but you can enjoy it immediately if you can't wait. Please do not buy Nestle, Dairy Milk or Kellogg's for this recipe. Use the alternatives that Aldi has. Just a reminder, we're still boycotting. This dessert was so easy to put together and it was definitely a crowd pleaser. You must give it a try.
تعالوا نسوي كيكة أحمد الزامل كرانشي شوكول نكسر الدنيا ب5 دقائق بس. ليتس جو. ونجيب البايركس ونحط كيك الشوكولاتة أي نوع أنت تحبونه، ونصب عليها حليب شوكولاتة وعاء زي كذا، ونضيف نص كمية الكريم تشيز ونص علبة كريمة خفق. وظرف دريم ويف وشويه حليب مركز وبس كذا، ونخلط نخلط كذا. الكريمه جاهزه، نضيفها فوق الكيك. بعد ما ضفنا طبقه الكريم تشيز نضيف عليها الشوكليت، وبعدين اهم بارت والاساس، ونضيف الشوكو رايس، نحط عليه الشوكليت، بعدين نضيف عليها الشوكليت باودر، وهذا الشكل النهائي لما تصير كل حبه لحالها. واخر شيء نضيف الشوكو رايس. هذا الشكل النهائي. حسيت اسمي اليوم مجيد الزامل. جوي واجوائي. بسم الله ونجرب. اقسم بالله مره لذيذ. العافيه عليكم.
Yes, we caved and made the trending Ahmed Al Zamel cake. And now I understand what the hype is all about. This trending cake was super simple to make. We just had to substitute some ingredients. For example, the recipe calls for store-bought chocolate cake, but we couldn't find simple chocolate cake in our local supermarket, so we decided to bake a super simple chocolate sponge. If you can find some simple chocolate cake, this recipe would be even easier to make. The first layer of the cake calls for cream cheese, some condensed milk. We used about half a carton because we didn't want it to be too sweet, and dream topping or dream whip depending on the country you stay. Yes, that's our 5-year-old rapping in the background. Give all of that a good mix, and when it's nice and thick, put that in the fridge for it to settle whilst you prepare the crunchy cereal rocks. For this step, get any chocolate cereal, melt some chocolate and pour that over the cereal. Give it all a good mix. Add some cocoa powder and give all that a good shake until the cereal separates and look like wee rocks. For the ganache, heat up equal parts double cream and pour into some chopped chocolate. Now drench your chocolate cake in some chocolate milk. Carefully layer the cream cheese mixture on top of the cake, making sure it's nice and smooth. Pour the silky ganache over the cream cheese layer and finish off with the chocolate cereal rocks. Let the cake rest in the fridge for a few hours and voila! You'll have the cake that's taken over collegiate TikTok for a good reason. Give it a try and let me know what you guys think.
اسمعوا، كل يومين بيطلع لنا ترند جديد، بس هذا الترند قصة تانية، واللذة فيه انه ما بدك لا شطارة ولا مهارة، بس بدك تجيبي كيكة جاهزة وتصفطيها هيك، من بعدها بنسقيها بالحليب على شوكولاتة، وإسا بنجيب جاط وبنخلط 300 جرام جبنة كريمية مع كوباية ونص كريمة للخفة، وبالآخر علبة حليب مكثف محلى. أكيد ما بننسى المعلقة فانيلا، وبنخلط ليصير معنا القوام هيك. إسا أكيد بفردن فوق الكيك، ومتأكدة إنه هذا رح يكون أطيب ترند بعمله بحياتي. إسا على السريع 100 جرام شوكولاتة بندير عليهن 100 جرام كريمة سائلة، بنخلط ليطلع معانا القوام هيك. إسا بديرها فوق الكيكة. إسا بعلبة بدير كوكو بوت، شوكولاتة دايبة، بنسكرها وبنخض هيك بودرة كاكاو، بديرن على الكيك. يا سلام، يلا ما بتتخيلوا قديش متحمسة أدوقها. تعالوا نشوف. يلا بسم الله. لحظة، مش معقول. جربوها، لازم تجربوها. باي.
You guys be lying online. Let's make the viral Khaliji Ahmed Al Zamel cake. Recipe uses box cake, and this is the one that we're gonna use. Put the cake mix in. Let me tell you, there's a secret to make box cake taste like homemade cake. 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt and a shot of coffee. So silky. This looks amazing. Just putting it in the oven now. While that's baking, I'm gonna try out this new pastry recipe. It's gonna be a chicken, cheese and jalapeno pastry. And now for the best part, we're going to make the cream cheese topping. This is a mixture of cream cheese, condensed milk and vanilla. I did forget to mention the recipe does say to slowly add double cream as you whisk. I'm going to make the chocolate sauce for the top of the cake. I have been in my kitchen for God knows how long. You guys be lying online, because what do you mean 15 minutes? We need to soak the cake in chocolate milk. I'm going to quickly check on the pastries while that's soaking. So one has popped, but otherwise they look good. The cream cheese is on, and now we're going to add our chocolate sauce on top. Time to put it in the fridge. So it's been in the fridge now. Look at that. Cheers. It's not too bad, and it's not as sweet as I thought it would be.
This cake has been trending on Khaliji TikTok, and now that I've tried it, I 100% get why it is. Just listen to that crunch. My siblings were literally licking their plate, and I don't even like chocolate, and I love this cake, so here's the recipe. I used a Betty Crocker chocolate cake mix and used butter, milk, and 3 eggs. A big part of the trend is using pre-made cake, so if you can find chocolate pre-made cake, that would probably make this way easier. I buttered my pan, and I would recommend using a larger pan so you can make your cake layer thin. While that cooled, I worked on my filling. I used 2 packs of room temperature cream cheese, a can of condensed milk, and a dash of vanilla. I whipped that up until it was combined and then slowly added in about 3 cups of heavy cream. And then I whipped that up until it had stiff peaks. And then I got started on forming my layers. Soak the cake with regular or chocolate milk and then top it with the cream cheese mixture. In hindsight, I have so much cake left over, so I would recommend adding another layer of cake as well. Then I got started on melting my chocolate. I used milk chocolate and I added about half a cup of heavy cream and melted it for about 30 to 45 seconds. Top your cake with the chocolate and let that sit while you work on the last layer. For this layer, you're going to want to use any type of chocolate crunchy cereal that you can get your hands on. You're going to cover it with a layer of chocolate, and once that's completely covered, you're going to add a layer of cocoa powder. Place your cereal on top of the cake, and that is all it takes. It's ready to serve as soon as you're done making it. And I'm not a chocolate lover, but when I say this is a 10 out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10. I also had so much leftover ingredients, I was able to make some for my family.
How to make the Ahmed Al Zamel cake in English, and by the way, that's his name, so let's not make jokes.
I'm gonna do this really quickly, so listen up. I cut up some marble cake and I put it in a bowl, and then I poured some milkshake over it. Please bear in mind, I live in an Arab country, so that literally says milkshake. Then I start boiling water and I put chocolate on top. Then in a bowl, I have whipped cream and condensed milk. I put 4 tablespoons of each. Then I added like 2 extra tablespoons of the whipped cream. I then mix in Rice Krispie cereal, and then I start layering everything. All our Moroccan moms and Kuwaiti moms are watching this right now and wanting to make it.
Here's the finished product. I'm not exactly a chef, but this section right here looks bloody fantastic and I'm excited to try. So I think me and my husband are going to try in the next video. Go away! Wait, I want to actually film us trying it.
Keep some for us.
Hello, let's make the Ahmed Al Zamel cake. Khaliji TikTok has took over my For You page, so you know it's only right I got involved, and you can't tell me this don't look absolutely scrumptious. When I tell you this has to be one of the best chocolate cakes I've ever tasted. Unbelievable. We're gonna start off by pouring our milk chocolate all over the chocolate cake. For the cream, I use soft cheese, double cream, condensed milk, some vanilla sachet there, blend it all together. Once it gets a little bit thick, you wanna pour it all over your chocolate cake. Now you wanna get your milk chocolate, pour some double cream on there and warm it up. Lovely stuff. Now just pour it all over the cake. This layer needs to cover the whole top. Make sure that gets distributed evenly. Now you wanna get your non-branded Cocoa Pops. You just gotta be careful with the measurement. You wanna have just enough for the top. So you want to add your milk chocolate in there, you want to add your cocoa powder in there, mix. You just want to make sure the consistency is right. If you need more cocoa powder, add more cocoa powder. Do you know what I mean? And once that's done, you just pour it all over on top, and look at the beautiful piece of art.
Let's make an elevated Ahmed Al Zamel cake. When I saw the ingredients needed to make this cake, I was disappointed. Is this what you call Ahmed Al Zamel? Cocoa Pops dusted in Nesquik, chocolate milk, tiramisu. The cake gives off, I just used what I had in my kitchen cupboard kind of vibes, Nesquik and Cocoa Pops. So I thought if we're gonna go all out and make Ahmed Al Zamel cake, might as well make it elevated. So my version is a chocolate cake soaked in condensed milk with a layer of decadent date caramel, a layer of freshly whipped cardamom cream, and the infamous liquid ganache and Nesquik coated Cocoa Pops. I started off by making a cake box mix. I like to whisk all wet ingredients and then add the dry ingredients bit by bit. This ensures no lumps and no overmixing. Once mixed, I pour into stoneware bowls. These are Ambala yogurt pots. Yes, you can bake things in them. They work out so well. I then started on the date caramel, soaked some medjool dates in hot water for 10 minutes, remove the pits, and then blitz up in a blender with a couple tablespoons of condensed milk. Once you have a smooth date paste, melt some butter on the stove, add your date paste, and whisk until incorporated. I also added a teaspoon of treacle to bring out the flavor of the dates. I set my date caramel aside and then mix some cream, milk, and condensed milk and pour this over the hot cakes, pricking with a fork. Once soaked, make sure you leave your cakes to cool fully. I then made my cardamom cream. I made this with condensed milk, some double cream, and a packet of cream cheese. I bashed up some cardamom pods in a pestle and mortar and added that in and whisked with an electric whisk until whipped. For the chocolate ganache, I broke up 200 grams of milk chocolate and added around 150 ml of single cream. Melt in the microwave on low power for 2 minutes and then whisk together. For the topping, mix chocolate cereal with some ganache and cocoa powder. When your cakes have cooled down, add your layer of date caramel, spreading evenly until well distributed. Then spoon on your cardamom cream, again using a spatula to smooth over the top. Then I poured on my cooled ganache, making sure it's spread evenly around the edges, and then finally spooned on the topping. And this is the Ahmed Al Zamel cake elevated, all ready to take to your next iftar party.